There it is. Okay. All right, I want to thank everybody for coming out today, and at this time, I'd like to call the meeting of the Madison County Fiscal Court to order. King?
Master King.
Here.
Master Barger.
Here.
Master Hughes.
Here.
Master Combs.
Here.
Judge Clark.
Here. You all have had a chance to look at the minutes of the last meeting. If there's no changes or discussion, a motion will be in order to approve those as printed in the package. Second.
Master King.
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Treasurer's report, we got that at our last meeting. We'll get it again in Richmond. If you all have any questions, Glenna will be here shortly to answer those with the packets and things. So we're going into order business, and as always, we're very pleased to have Jennifer Webb here with us today. Jennifer, who's so active in so many programs dealing with juveniles and problems with the young people in our county. And we're just very thankful to have Jennifer and all the time and energy she puts into it. And Jennifer, I'm going to turn this Madison County Youth in Action program over to you.
Thank you. Thank you guys for allowing us to come in and make these presentations. It's really important for us to do it at this venue because we want the community to be aware of just what excellent law enforcement officers there are out there, and just our agencies, how wonderful they are. I'll start out by talking about our grant. Almost 2 years ago, we received some federal funding through enforcing underage drinking laws. It's almost $20,000, and we were really happy that we could bring that money here in Madison County. It was a very competitive grant process. There were only a few grants awarded throughout the state, but we were able to bring that money here and use it, and I think that we've used it wisely over the last couple of years. And as you know, fiscal court serves as our fiscal agent. In order to get that money, we have to have a fiscal agent. April was designated as Alcohol Awareness Month, and the reason for that is because April is a kickoff for prom and graduation season, and also it is the deadliest 3 months of the year for youth. More than 1/3 of youth will lose their life in an alcohol-related incident during these months. So our group wanted to use some of our grant money for Alcohol Awareness Month, and we wanted to do some projects that were a little different. One project was our social media campaign. Every year or every day we put something on our Facebook status and ask everyone to share it. If you shared it, then you put in a drawing or a gift card for that. So we gave away a lot of money. We're also still trying to reach 1,000 likes on our Facebook page. And when we reach 1,000 likes, we're going to have a drawing for a $100 gift card. So that one's still ongoing. We're also going to be giving $500 to each of the high schools' project graduations. This is a very, very important project for the high schools to keep kids safe. So we'll be presenting those checks soon. And finally, the reason why we're here today is our Officer of the Year campaign. We are visiting each agency and awarding Officer of the Year awards. We ask for submissions from the community, and we've received several. These submissions were made from teachers, from other law enforcement personnel, from students, from businesses. So we were really pleased with the amount of nominations that we received. Our criteria is a little bit different since we are underage drinking prevention group. Then we did ask for submissions based on officers who have been leading the way in DUI arrests, who actively participate in youth-led groups. So, like I said, we did receive a lot of outstanding nominations. So at this time, what I'd like to do is recognize the finalists for Officer of the Year from Kentucky State Police. And I'd like to also thank the Sheriff's Department for sharing the spotlight with the State Police. I've had some scheduling difficulties that have come up, and it's been really hard to schedule this. Also, testing this week in the schools had made it very difficult to get kids here, but we do have one who's going to help make the presentations. But the finalists for the award for Kentucky State Police, if you'll come forward, you all are going to receive hero medallions from Ms. Willis here. The finalists from KSP are Sergeant Harvey Baxter, Trooper Paul Blanton, and Trooper Keith Park. Now, also on behalf of Madison County Youth in Action, we'd like to present KSP Post 7 with a plaque to thank you all for your participation throughout the year in our programs, because you just help further our mission to reduce underage drinking. So, if someone from KSP would like to come up, someone, okay, that will work. Thank you. All right, so now for the Trooper of the Year. This year's recipient of the Madison County Youth in Action Law Enforcement of the Year, representing Kentucky State Police, has conducted numerous presentations on drugs of concern in Madison County to health professionals, civic groups, businesses, and area schools, reaching over 2,500 people to provide awareness about the dangers of substance abuse. He's attended health and career fairs at local schools, speaking to over 2,000 children on character development and making good choices to have a healthy and productive life. He's presented medals at the Kentucky State Special Olympics Games to participating athletes, and he's coordinated Richmond Post involvement in the Madison County Sticker Shock campaign. Additionally, he's accompanied several local area youths to Trooper Island, where they've enjoyed a week of camp, which was free to their families. The Madison County Youth in Action team would like to congratulate Trooper Paul Blanton as the 2013 Law Enforcement Officer of the Year, representing Kentucky State Police. Congratulations. If you guys could just stick around, I'd like to get some pictures whenever we finish up here. From Madison County Sheriff's Department, we'd like to recognize the finalists with hero medallions. And if you'll step forward, please, Deputy Derek Thomas. Deputy Stacy Cummings. Sergeant Mike Markham. And Sergeant Todd Allen. We'd also like to present Madison County Sheriff's Department with a plaque to thank them for their participation throughout the year in our programs, because you all just help further our mission to reduce underage drinking. So. So this year's Law Enforcement Officer of the Year, representing Madison County Sheriff's Department, has presented a day-long alcohol and DUI awareness prevention and underage drinking program for high school students. He's assisted with Sticker Shock program for Madison County Youth in Action, and gives alcohol and DUI programs for the department. He's led the sheriff's department with a total number of traffic citations of 637 and arrested 14 DUIs for the year of 2012. He's the Highway Safety Project Director for Madison County Sheriff's Office and is active in the enforcement of all aspects of the federal overtime program, which allows for the enforcement and apprehension of alcohol-related violations such as DUI, speeding, seatbelt, child restraints, and texting while driving. Madison County Youth in Action would like to congratulate Sergeant Mike Marcone, who's not here, with the 2013 Law Enforcement of the Year Award representing Madison County Sheriff's Department. We give a round of applause to all of you officers. And I have one other award, and this is the first, I guess you could say, civilian award that we're going to give. But I wanted to give hero awards to people in the community that have also assisted us in promoting our mission. And as I said earlier, Madison County Fiscal Court is our fiscal agent. You guys serve as fiscal agent for a lot of people who bring grant money to Madison County. And it's a big job to keep up with the money that you guys administer through fiscal court. But luckily you all have Glenna Baker. Glenna, please don't leave. Glenna Baker in the treasurer's office, whenever I came and asked you guys if it would be okay if we applied for this grant and be our fiscal agent, I think the answer was you're going to have to ask Glenna, who accepted the challenge, as she does, I think, with everyone, which in turn is just more work on her. But she's always so pleasant to deal with. I know I've said this many times to you all about what a great person she is, but the Youth in Action team would like to award Glenna and the Treasurer's Office with a Hero Award. In closing, I just want to thank you guys again. We are a group that strives to promote underage drinking prevention. We're a proactive group, and we want to ask Fiscal Court to be a proactive body of government. In October of last year, I presented you all with a social host ordinance. That's an ordinance that would hold parents responsible for hosting parties for underage children. Right now, this time of year, on Facebook, there's a lot of kids who are putting up party at my house after prom. We're going to be serving alcohol. Don't worry, my parents are going to take the keys, so it's nice and safe. There's nothing safe about that. These parents are contributing to the delinquency of their child. They're breaking the law by giving a minor alcohol. And as a fiscal court, you guys can enact some legislation to hold these parents responsible who do that. So the offer that I gave you guys back in October of me doing the work, I will do the research for you. I'll do whatever you all need to do to get this in the books is still good. So again, I'd ask that you all consider my proposal of a social host ordinance. It's a win-win for everybody. It would even bring in additional revenue for the county, as well as save lives. So if you all have any questions or any concerns at all, please call on me for that. Like I said, I presented that, I think, back in October. I followed up with Mr. Robbins about it, and I'm hoping that you all will still consider that.
Jennifer, we are considering, we're looking, there are a lot of positives and a lot of negatives. Enforcement, with the court system, and then if we do an ordinance that would be in the county, the two cities would have to follow suit. Most of the parties will be in the cities anyway. So it's something that we've talked about, Mark and I've talked about it on several occasions, especially after the October meeting. Talked to the magistrates about it. It's something we're still considering, but we kind of look at some other programs and the success they've had as far as convicting parents, you know, and taking them to court and stuff. It's, you know, I think most parents are wise enough or smart enough now to know that underage kids can't drink and they shouldn't be providing alcohol to them. But in anything you do, you've got some that don't do that. I mean, but we are considering it. We're looking at it. It's just, we're still looking at it.
And I appreciate that, but I would have to disagree that there are some parents that still think that alcohol is much safer than drugs, that it's simply a rite of passage. Because if you look at it, all 50 states have 21 drinking laws. You know, you have to be 21. Yet alcohol consumption among youth is still the leading cause of death among kids that are under 21. And statistically, kids report that they get alcohol from their parents as their main source. So that's why we're asking for you guys to consider this social host ordinance, because there's still this idea among a lot of parents that it's not dangerous. And when you talk about the enforcement of the law, I think Sergeant Baxter shared a story around Christmas that I think there wouldn't be a dry eye in the room if he were to get up here and talk about it. Parent wrapping Christmas presents over Christmas in one room, and in the next room, 2 teenage boys are drinking. One accident, they're playing with a gun, accidentally shoots himself. He had to respond to that call. I don't think that you get any arguments out of law enforcement about the enforcement of social host ordinance. As far as convictions, that's a whole other different thing. That would be, of course, Mr. Robbins. But the underlying idea for this social host ordinance is promoting awareness for parents. So even if you don't get any convictions, if you promote awareness to adults that may be considering serving alcohol to their kids, then you've won, in my opinion. But that's my opinion. I think that there are a lot of other people in the community that share my same opinion. So, thank you again.
Thank you.
I appreciate you guys giving us the time today.
We appreciate you, everything you and all the volunteers do, and especially our law enforcement, state police, sheriff, and the 2 city polices. We appreciate you all. Thank you very much. Now, guys, I know you all got a lot more to do than sit here and listen to a long drawn agenda, so you're welcome to leave if you'd like. Roger, hand that to Mark for me, please. Next on the agenda is open bids for the Whitehall Shrine Road. Briefly, this was some money that we were able to successfully acquire from the General Assembly a couple years ago. We've had other priorities, but we put it together, got the design done, and we've advertised for bid. I think we just had one bid in.
Allen Company, properly sealed, and it's dated May the 3rd, an initial, but I assume that's within the appropriate guidelines. It's the only bill that I've
Okay. We will review that and bring a recommendation back to the court at the next meeting. Got a few appointments today. First, I'd like to reappoint May Kirby to the Board of Adjustments. May's been on there for quite a long time. He does an excellent job, and he takes pride in what he does. And at this time, I'd like the court's permission to reappoint May Kirby to the Board of Adjustments with a term that would expire June 20th of 2017.
So moved. Second.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes. Another Board of Adjustment member is Jimmy Rogers. You know, you can't say enough about Jimmy. He's so involved in everything in the community, and he does an excellent job at this too. So I'd like the court's permission to reappoint Jimmy Rogers to the Board of Adjustments with a term expiring on June 20th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes. Like our tax assessment and tax appeals board is getting ready to meet. It's that time of the year, and we always try to get representation from Richmond County and Berea. And at this time, John Gillum Jr. has agreed. He served before, and then his term ran out. But he's agreed to come back on the tax assessment board, and he does an excellent job, like his daddy did. And at this time, I'd like the court's permission to appoint John Gillum Jr. to the Madison County Tax Assessment Board.
Are we reappointing him or
Appointing.
So moved. Second.
Mr. King?
No.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes. Okay. Next, award bids on the field decon and hospital decon. Michael's here today for that.
Here for Carl. Carl was at the J-Log IPP meeting in Richmond. Pass these sheets down. These are decon equipment that we buy every year, and we would like to recommend that for our suits, we give we award the bid to Armsco for the boots, to Airgas, gloves to Granger, and the tape to Armsco.
Okay. You all, of course, we saw it. You went through all the necessary bid requirements.
Right.
Okay, any questions for Michael? I think it's pretty self-explanatory. If not, on Michael's recommendation, must be in order to approve those particular recommendations as far as boots, suits, gloves, and tape.
So moved. Second.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Okay, next is first reading of Madison County Administrative Code. Glenn is here. If we've got questions, we've tried to give you all copies of the changes that we're looking at. This is really just a housekeeping effort to keep up with the changing laws and the changing times. We didn't change anything serious. A few things like workman's comp, we've kind of always paid them 100% of their salary the first 4 weeks. We can't do that. It's not legal. Family leave, according to state law, is to start the day that they go on workman's comp or they take off. And we were given a little time on that. Some other everything's housekeeping. This is first reading. You all got copies of the changes. If you've got any questions about any of it, please feel free to call myself, Glenna, and we'll all be getting together for the next meeting anyway. So if you've got any questions, we can go over them and answer those. But we kind of wanted to get first reading out of the way so we could get these distributed. Has anybody got any questions about it? We handed it out a couple of weeks ago. Is everybody okay with first reading? If so, then the motion be in order to approve first reading of the Madison County's revised personnel administrative code.
So moved. Second.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes. Next is the first reading of our 13-14 Madison County budget. And most of you all have had a copy to look at for a while. And Larry, I apologize. We thought it was in your packet, but it is first reading. And as always, we've all been over this kind of individually. It's a good budget. It's a good, strong budget. Really, the only significant increase in the whole budget was the food at the jail. But you know, we had increase in some revenues, kind of could stay the same on occupational tax, and we've lost about 550 jobs at the depot, but we're kind of making that up, balancing out over on the D-mill side. So that's staying pretty level. We had some increases in a little bit in property tax, personal tangible tax, deed transfer tax, things like that. It really amount to a lot. So we were able to keep, you know, just a really good conservative budget. And I might add, it looks like that we are going to balance our 20th budget at the end of this fiscal year with a positive surplus, which we've done for 20 years in a row. We have never matched or maxed out at budgeted funds in any department. So we're happy about that. And as I said, we'll make this available to the press or anybody that would like a copy of the first reading. And we'll again talk. If you all have any questions about anything in the budget, please call me, call Glenna, and we'll get together. But again, we'll be going over this once more before the second reading anyway. So without dragging it out much, if there are no questions, I'll accept a motion to approve first reading of Madison County Fiscal Court's 13-14 budget.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes. Next is certification of motor vehicle accounting, and I'm going to turn this over to our clerk, Kenny Barger.
Yes, sir. This happens annually. The Revenue Cabinet sends down this document. Fiscal Court pays our office 15 cents per vehicle, that's boat and motor vehicle, for the calculation of the tax bills and collecting that tax. The total is 76,760 vehicles, 15 cents, which makes the total amount $11,514. This, Glenn and I talked about this pretty regularly. It's like taking money out of one pocket, putting the other. We've handed back money that we've been over or under our budget every year so far, and at the end of the term, we'll be handing back a sizable amount of money. This money will go into our account. It will be surplus at the end of the year, and at the end of the term, you guys will get it back.
So it's kind of a really nice pass-through, and Kenny's continuing to do an excellent job
And
with his
if
office.
it weren't statute, we probably wouldn't fool with it, but it is. So.
Do you pay us any interest while you're holding this money?
No, it's a zero interest loan.
Since we do get it back, if you need a motion, I'll make it.
We need a motion to pay our clerk 15 cents per vehicle and boat.
So moved. Second.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
That's a good call.
Judge's report. Few things. Our joint government meeting had a great crowd. Most of the elected officials there had 29 people. It was a really informative meeting between the three governments. It's what it's all about. The Japanese sister city delegation will be visiting the fiscal court on Thursday, May 16th from 10:30 to 11:30. And you all are invited. I just spent about an hour with them, telling them a little bit about Madison County and county government things. There's also a reception for them down at the BRID. It's next to the BRID Municipal Building on Friday night. I think it starts about 6. And I think everybody's invited to that, especially fiscal court. So, if you can get away and come down to that, there's always a big crowd. The Chamber's State of the County address, the joint chambers, will be Friday at noon. I don't know if I'd encourage you to come or not because I'm the speaker, and you might get bored a little bit. Tyler
What
White.
having to eat?
I don't know. Tyler White's representing Andy Barr's office, and he'll be here Monday, May 20th, from 1 to 3. He's coming in on a regular basis and talking to veterans or anybody that's got a problem that really needs to get to the congressman. And Clay, the golf report is in your packets if you want that, and Dwayne's report's in your packets. We felt like the meeting might go a little bit longer, so So we just put them in, but as always, if you have any questions about that, I'm available, Clay's available, Dwayne's available to answer those or sit down with you and go over them. That's all I've got in the judge's report. I guess we'll go on with comments from department heads. Anybody? Fiscal? Sheriff, do you have anything?
No, sir.
Okay, if we don't department heads, let's go on into comments from magistrates, and I'll start off with Greg.
I'd just like to commend our sheriff and state police for doing what they can for youth, and I'd like to recommend them and appreciate them for what they do and all of their related duties as law enforcement. And our county's looking good and doing good. Grass is growing, getting plenty of rain. Hay, crops is coming, getting ready to come in, but other than that, everything looks good.
Thank you, Greg. Roger?
Yeah, I got a couple things. One of them some of us are aware of. Let's see if I can find here. We're having a problem out at, I'm sure it's countywide, we're really having a problem out at, pass those around the other, out at Boonesboro exit 95, with what I guess the basic term for it is panhandling, going up to vehicles to ask for money, food, whatever. And it's not that these people doesn't need help maybe, but it's caused a terrible problem. I have a state policeman that lives up that way, and he has run them off. He's done about everything he can do, but by law, they don't stay away, and they don't have to because there's no regulation to tell them to. But he's really getting aggravated with it because when people stop to give them money, they're holding up traffic, and we're in a terribly congested area, and tractor trailers and whatever, you know, and it's dangerous to start with. The other big issue is on the rainy days or cold weather, they hang around the BP station and the truck stop, and they bum people as they're getting gas. And you got families with you and children, and just a stranger coming up and asking for money, whatever, it's scaring some of them. This gentleman is a state policeman. He's got his uniform on, and he has people come up to him at the gas stations and the truck stop and don't know why he doesn't do something about it. He can't do it. All he can do is run them off. 5 minutes, they're back. So I asked Dwayne to get me this copy of the ordinance that the city has against this. We don't have to use the same one. I think Mark's suggestion earlier before court is a good idea to see if we can kind of write one and see if the two cities would want to go along with us and make it a county-wide ordinance that all is the same. You know, I think that would work out better. But we've noticed a drop. I say we, the state policeman, has noticed a drop in the ones that used to hang out at exit 87 because the city has an ordinance and they do run them away from there with this ordinance a little bit and keep them away from us. So now they've moved out into the county now. Some of these people that are doing this at Boonesboro exit live within an eighth of a mile or a quarter of a mile of the exit. They're not transients, it's just passing through. They live here. And he said, I can take you to where they live. I've followed them home. I know where they live because he lives right down the road from them. But it's a big problem. I think it's going to take our court to just establish some kind of ordinance, but I don't want to jump into it just like Mark had read the cities. And he said it seemed a little strong to him in a way, and I understand that. Somebody honestly coming up to your house and asking for help for March of Dimes or something, you know, don't need to be pushed away. But I don't know what the answer is, and I know the judge has got calls on it too, and probably all of us have. But in my area, just because it's on the north end, it's in my area. And this gentleman had called me before, and I told him at the time that I didn't think we had any power to do anything about it. And I really thought because the interstate and everything, it was probably a federal issue that we couldn't get into, but yet it's in our county. I'm sure we can do something about it.
Well, I think so. Does Berea have an ordinance similar to Richmond's? One, you know? Okay, well, let's pull those together. We can compare them and see if we can't maybe try to work on something that would enforce from one end of the county to the other.
What we'd like to do is go on and kind of expedite this. It was like Roger, I've had a lot of people complain about this. You know, and you run them off and they go over in the woods, and some of them camp out there, and then they're right back. A couple years ago, we had a problem with a group out of the south soliciting funds, and finally got rid of them. So it just comes in cycles. But right now, with school being out and the holiday travelers and stuff, you know, we'd like to really expedite this, and hopefully we could get something on the books by at least resolution by the next meeting. So Mark, Francette will have Berea's. We'll look at those two, and then meantime we can talk to Richmond and Berea and see if we could do something together. Kind of congregate. So, and Roger, it's a good point. I mean, it's a problem, and it's getting worse.
Yeah, it's just the traffic out there is terrible anyway, and you're lucky if sometimes 5 or 6 cars can make it through the red light because there's 3 tractor trailers in front of you, and then you got some guy that's asking for money, and you feel sorry for him, and you stop and give him money, you've held up the other people. So it's dangerous. That's all it is to it.
You know, there are ways for all of us to help.
Right.
If we wish to contribute to agencies which provide services to folks that are in need, we can certainly do that. We encourage people to do that. But it's probably a better situation than it is, again, posing the danger to the community based upon the activities, Roger, that you're experiencing.
And the law enforcement officials, when they go to them, I'm assuming maybe some of them do, but maybe they can have a list or know who they can tell them that they can go to get help, you know, instead of just leaving them stranded. Another thing I don't want to make a big deal out of it today, but I do want you all to understand what we're up against with the Valley View Ferry. As far as the media is concerned in the 3 counties, I wish you'd hold off making a big story out of it, because George Dean, my vice chairman, and I would like to sit down with all 3 of the county media people and do it at one time so everybody gets the same story. We're not in trouble yet on help, but we will be shortly. And the problem is, this is what Mark gave me to read in the spare time about the people that's on the docket for one day. Well, this is a Coast Guard application for somebody that wants a job at the ferry. You got to fill this out, and this is what George Dean put together. He put it together like a guy that's applying. It took him about a week to get all these back from the Coast Guard, through emails and whatever. There's nobody in this country that's interested in going through what you got to go through to get a job at the ferry for what little we can afford to pay them. Because some of these gentlemen that's got these licenses are making $600 a day, but they're on a ship on the ocean, or they're driving a tugboat up the Ohio River. So when they leave that job, even though it might be retirement for them, they still are not interested in coming to our little old ferry and working. But our issue is our captains don't need this license, and we're trying to get a hold of the people in Washington that can make the Coast Guard change this. Of course, the Coast Guard says Congress takes acts of Congress. So that's what we're after now, to see if Congress will make an exemption. And it's not just us. So far, George Dean's done the research on this, and so far I think he's found about 20 ferries across the country that are cabled like we are. You don't have to drive our ferry, it's guided by cables. So there's really not that much danger or training needed. I've tried to tell the local people that if somebody can drive a farm tractor can run this ferry. And I believe that. You know, what training they need, we can give. But we don't care to go by all the Coast Guard regulations as far as safety. They can still come and inspect us once a year like they always have. But we just need these regulations relieved where this gentleman, and this is like a CDL license, and Leroy know what I'm talking about there. That CDL license is owned by the driver. The county don't own that license, he does. If he quits tomorrow, he takes that CDL license with him and gets him another job. That's just like this is. So we can't afford to be out the $1,300 to $2,000 that it costs to get this license. And then he'll walk off and leave us. That's why we make them pay for it. We're desperate enough, if they get this license and they spend that money, we'll pay them back eventually as they work for us. We'll reimburse them. But they gotta get that license first. We'd like to sit down with all 3 of the county medias and tell them one story so we can tell the people how serious this is getting to not having a ferry at all. That's all we got.
Thanks, Roger. While we're on the subject, even Francette, it appears in Richmond that we have some people that are soliciting, representing community oriented programs and things. I had a woman from Hillcrest call me at 9:30 last night. Her and her husband are in their 80s, and somebody had knocked on their door and followed it up with this request of a lot of personal information. And I asked her to shred it because we have not issued any kind of permit to solicit any kind of funding. And you get people like for the schools and things like that, but they really need to go through the city of Berea, the city of Richmond, or the courthouse of the county in order so that when people call us, we can tell them, yes, they did apply for something to solicit. These people are trying to get a whole lot of information, and it looks like they're targeting older people. So we're not aware of any type of anything going on that would solicit information about older people. So we'd like to just get the word out. I told her last night that I would, and we talked to the Richmond paper later this week. Bill Ray?
Not much. You mentioned the Japanese delegation, and this is the 26th year that they have come here, and we send a delegation every fall, and there's hundreds of Madison Countyans that's made that trip. I think, Larry, you was on the first. That was a honeymoon trip for you, wasn't it?
Yes.
How'd that work out for you?
I can't comment. We're on TV.
And the judge, they always enjoy meeting with the judge, and you need to make the trip over there sometime. Yeah.
That's on my bucket list, Billy.
But it's a big week, and they'll be here this evening, starting this evening for the rest of this week, and it's been a very good, enriching experience for our county to develop that relationship with the Japanese in our sister region, and I encourage you all to attend some of the festivities this week.
Thank you, Bill Ray. Larry?
Scott, do we have another tire cleanup coming?
The tire industry programs are on a 3-year rotation through the state, so we'll be looking at another 2 years before we have these.
So if someone's got them now, what can we do?
Hold on to them. I do have some grant funding left over from our $3,000 grant. Certain situations where health risk or something, we probably have to get.
Okay, thank you. And then Sheriff Combs, I'm gonna ask you how many you got out on home incarceration?
60 plus this morning.
60 plus. Well, that's a big benefit, I'd say that. I guess the only other thing, Judge, you can tell the city on the way out the air conditioning working good.
Working real good.
I think that they wanted to try it out on us to make sure, I think. Other than that, I'm just glad to be here.
Okay, we're glad to have you, Larry. Thanks for being here. Anybody in the audience, any comments? If not, next court date will be May 28th in Richmond, 9:30 in the morning. And if nothing further, a motion be in order to pay the claims and approve the transfers.
So move.
Second.
Pastor King?
Yes.
Pastor Barger?
Yes.
Pastor Hughes?
Yes.
Pastor Combs? Yes. Judge Porter?
Yes. Motion to adjourn. Thank you
So
everybody
moved.
for coming in.
Yes.